Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our sixth Lord in the 10th house series. And what happens when a planet that is controlling your sixth house in your horoscope is sitting in the 10th house? And yes, I'm kind of overly dressed today, knowing who KRS is, but actually I had to go see my daughter's pediatrician and got to dress up like a dad now, so I had to just do this and just came back. So I'm like, let's just shoot a video. My God, look at that statement. I had to go for my daughter's doctor appointment. Oh, man. It's done. It's over, man. It's over. So anyway, if you do not know where your sixth Lord is placed and where your other Lord through houses are placed, for that check out the links here and check out my full astrological report, including all my options that will actually tell you in audio detail, including through my books option and everything. So check out the links here. And so what is the sixth house? Sixth house represents debts, diseases, small animals, non-profit organizations. It represents unprivileged people, disputes. It's a house of diseases, mainly, as you know. It's a house of pretty much obstacles and hurdles that are put in front of you in this life to make you tougher, to make you realize your hidden potential, pretty much. Because sixth house is directly opposite to the 12th house. 12th house is your hidden potentials. That means through the sixth house, you're receiving your hidden potentials. Okay, that's something I just realized. But when this planet is sitting in the 10th house, what happens? Well, sixth house, which is also routine, which is your everyday routine. Where are you implying your everyday routine? Well, 10th house is a house of your reputation. 10th house is a house of fame, government, your work, your career. Okay, even though it's not necessarily the source of your earnings, money, but it's like your image into the world. What are you known as? So when this Lord goes into the 10th house, shows that your everyday routine, everyday things that you do are mainly applied in your career, mainly applied in your vocation field. Okay, whatever that is. And obviously, to figure out what your vocation is, you have to look at other houses, not necessarily the 10th house, especially for the people who have seen me do their career consultation. So your routines are being applied to the to your work field, to your vocation field. Your obstacles, people who are bringing obstacles to you, challenges to you, are now going to be met in the work field, in your workplace. People perhaps in your workplace are stopping you from getting that promotion, that executive positions that you want, that actual bonus that you want to hit your numbers, and then there are all these obstacles. It may not be unnatural obstacle where people are purposely confining against you. It might be that there you have a lot of competition. Other people are doing their own thing, but they might be doing better than you. So now you have to elevate your game. So sixth house, 10th house, and the second house are known as the Artha triangle. The triangle for earning your money, doing your work, your everyday work that you do are seen from these three houses. So Artha house Lord is going into the Artha house. And this is where a person can become a workaholic. His everyday routine is just to work. That's where they find their satisfaction. That's where they find their challenge and obstacles. And including for your career, you take on debts, because sixth house is debts. So when you take on debt, perhaps you are starting your business as your career. You're taking debt from the bank to buy all the equipment for your restaurant or whatnot. Okay. Or you are educating yourself for advancing yourself in the career. You go to seminars, you go through all these extra classes, especially for lawyers, doctors, engineers. They always have to keep themselves updated with new technology, with whatever is happening. So if the company doesn't pay, they put that expense on themselves and they go and learn. So debt comes through that. Disputes. Sixth house is disputes. Your dispute is now happening in your career. You get into a lot of disputes with your colleagues, or your career is disputing other people, debating other people, which is what? Lawyer. Something what lawyer would do. He would dispute other people in his workplace. So that is represented by this. And you may also be working in a healthcare field. You may be working for a non-profit organization, because that's what also sixth house represents. So you're taking care of other people's diseases. Not to mention, 10th house is fifth place from the sixth house. So if you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 places from the sixth house, it becomes the fifth from the sixth. That means you treat your work as your child. Your work becomes a very important thing. You love to nourish your work more than any other thing in your life. You're very dedicated. You're one of those very dedicated service people. And especially service in government is seen because sixth house is service, providing service to somebody. 10th house is government. You're providing service to the government. So you can see a lot of people, policemen, army, politician, congressmen. It's your, FBI agent, investigators, whatnot. Whatever is related to the government, including administrative fields, are seen from this. Now, obviously, whatever planet is controlling the sixth house goes into the 10th house, it may differentiate. You may not have a government job, you may have a healthcare job. You may not have a healthcare job, you may have an accounting job. So let's discuss each planet that controls and goes into the 10th house. So let's say if Sun controls your 6th house and Sun is sitting in the 10th house, what is Sun? Sun is your personality, Sun is your ego, your vitality, even represents your health. Sun represents your father, your government. And what this shows is that your work ethics, your routine, and how you handle everyday life is dedicated towards a higher purpose, is dedicated towards purpose of law, government, politics. It shows your father was in a government or father was in a field of law. Father must have been a minister as well, but shows that your personality was really shaped by the routine that your father taught you every day. Perhaps your father taught you wake up every day, do meditation, then go for a walk, then eat healthy breakfast, then go to your school. And you kept this routine on for your entire life, and that shaped you in a way where now you are represented as an authority figure who has the complete say on living a right lifestyle. Because Sun controlling the 6th house will be in the sign of Sagittarius. Sun becomes a higher self of the Sattvic self, because Sun is Sattvic, Sagittarius Sattvic, the personality becomes Sattvic. It wants to follow the rules and regulation. It wants to become service, government, public service to other people, meaning that these people want to work for government, want to, dedicate themselves to the higher authority, the higher king. And that's how they are. They're very dedicated, work ethic people. If Moon controls the 6th house, goes into the 10th house, these people mind and their everyday routine is about investigating things. They want to dig deep and look at what's happening here. They want to go out, perhaps dig deep and become surgeons. They want to go out there and become secret government agents or detectives in law enforcement. Here, mind finds its peacefulness when it's stuck in an everyday routine for digging for the truth, digging for all the things that are hidden from other people's eyes, and you want to bring that up as your career. Perhaps like somebody who digs for the truth. Anything that requires investigation or requires surgery, requires sudden emergencies, helping sudden people in emergencies, that could be your forte. Since Moon is your psyche, and Scorpio represents transformation, sexual relationships, you may become a psychologist, sex psychologist. You may become somebody who might be into medical field, because again, it's relating to the 6th house, and Scorpio relates to the 8th house of life and death. Your mind is out there to solve other people's conflict, to solve other people's life and death scenarios. So you can be a psychiatrist, psychologist, great nurses are made from this. They deeply care for you. Scorpio Moon nurse will deeply care compared to the Cancer nurse. Remember that. She will be passionate about it, or he will be passionate about what they do. If Mercury controls the 6th house, goes into the 10th house, these people would find business and everyday routine in their business, in vocation. These people are good at dealing with business, with creating relationships and workspaces, and being accountants, dealing with numbers, dealing with all kinds of communication regarding perhaps medical industry, communication of the nonprofit organization. These people want to go out, create peace, they want to communicate about the peace, and they want to address what's happening in the 6th house into the 10th house. Meaning they want to take all the wrongdoings, the unnecessary disputes that are happening in third world countries or in their own community, and they want to bring that out as surface, and they want to make that as their image of vocation. No matter if you're a reporter, if you're a documentarian, if you are an actor, you're an accountant, your image will be set as somebody who wants to help the poor, who wants to help people, live a better life, pretty much. You can become a communicator of that. Let's say Venus controls your 6th house. Venus goes into the 10th house, shows somebody who has this great passion and dedication for health and healing. These people make great doctors. These people make great healers and great nurses. And your everyday routine would be to provide better health care for other people. And that's what your passion and love is, because that's what Venus is. Venus is passion and love. So it wants to show its passion and love through being realistic, and at the same time, being involved in a routine that helps people with their health, with their health care thing. And at the same time, you might get into disputes with other women in your workplace. You may run into women who might purposely create arguments for you, might purposely create an obstacle in workplace for you. So you want to watch out for that. You don't want to get somebody cunning who, accidentally tries to blame you for something, blame you for harassment, things like that. But, these are the women that you might run into, especially Venus is at certain degrees. If not, then, or if Venus has an aspect of Jupiter, then you will have a very blessed women coming into your life. You will have more healers as women come into your life, especially if Jupiter is looking at Venus in this scenario. Let's say if Mars controls your 6th house, Mars goes into the 10th house. Mars is a soldier. He's a fighter. He's the one who brings energy and vitality in you, as you saw in my Mars retrograde video. Mars wants to fight for the truth, search for the truth, wants to fight for the king who's fighting for the truth. So these people can make great government agencies, great government, politicians, lawyers, fighters, army, police, all of these people, their dedication will go towards the government. They will even make great athletes because they love competition. These people, whether they're in the government, politics, art, medical, whatever field they're in, they love competition. For them, without competition, they cannot thrive, like Michael Jordan. Like Michael Jordan cannot be Michael Jordan unless he has a top-notch competition. So he can excel himself. Mars always wants to overdo its competition. So these people have the stamina, the willpower to go out and fight and do whatever they have to in order to, make that as their routine, make that as their everyday workplace. They want to be out there, be in a competitiveness. Let's say Jupiter controls your 6th house, Jupiter goes into the 10th house. Now, what is Jupiter? Jupiter is education. Jupiter is knowledge. Jupiter is teachers and gurus. Jupiter is finance and money. So these people, in their everyday work life, try to bring a philosophical view about competition. They try to bring this philosophical view into their routine. They're very spiritually dedicated towards their work. Here, Jupiter can become a really great motivator, like a coach. They make great coaches. They know how to motivate people. Or they make great spiritual healers. They educate people regarding health and educate people regarding health, diseases. And here Jupiter brings somebody into a situation where they're dealing with finances in their everyday routine, meaning somebody could be a banker, stockbroker, bookkeeper, And also with Jupiter and Mercury, you can also see somebody who might be in this position, oh my God, it's called human resources. Like I remember when I did my career consultation, I had these similar placements, and I'm like, either you're in accounting or you're doing human resource work. And they were they were in the hiring process, like recruiters, which is pretty much human resources. They go out for their company and they recruit people, and they manage their people in the company. And so that's what it represents. And here Jupiter can show that one finds their education through being in disputes, being in obstacles and struggling. That's where they find their spiritual knowledge. And they want to provide their spiritual knowledge to the people in poverty. They necessarily may not care about providing and going and teaching spiritual things to the rich. They want to go out in a third world country and tell people about the Bible, the Bhagavad Gita, or the spiritual side of life, and telling them that God is not this, meticulous figure, or God is not this, figure in a photo, but God is actually frequency. They may teach that. Actually, that's what Jupiter really here is to tell you. Is that Jupiter really wants to tell you that, especially with the sign of Pisces, that God is a frequency. God is not a physical form. It's a frequency within you. And the frequency goes up and down, sideways, all over the place, but it's simply a frequency. There's no physical thing to it. It's like a pion particle in, or the, the invisible particles in the atmosphere. But as you see, either they become really motivating at work, they want to go out and do the right thing, they want to become the lawyers who fight for the righteous deeds, or they become the very spiritual people who want to teach regarding debts, or financial, want to teach about finance, debts, diseases, want to teach about biology, how the biology works of different things. So that's what they love doing and they want to do. But here their higher knowledge will come from disputes. Now let's say if Saturn controls your 6th house, goes into the 10th house, Saturn and 6th house are kind of the same. Saturn represents routine and everyday work. 6th house represents routine and everyday work. And these people are very dedicated and disciplined to their work. Their routine involves strict discipline about how to do certain things. They're very compartmentalized. So they may not be so open-minded when they're in their work. If there's a certain law set in a workplace, they will only follow that. They will not try to think outside the box or outside the boundaries, because Saturn is boundaries. Saturn, this is why Saturn has a ring around it, to show you that there's boundaries to this planet. So when your energy is linked to this planet, it cannot go outside of this realm. However, here Saturn can, really make somebody routine regarding finances again, can make somebody communicate regarding the problems of the people who are suffering through health, suffering in a handicapped way. And Venus and Saturn here both are very dedicated to handicapped people for their work. And nursing, working for especially non-profit organization with Saturn is a big thing, because Saturn wants to dedicate its work and wants to perhaps even do it for free, because Saturn represents the mass folks who are in third world countries struggling. But at the same time, Saturn is status hungry, so they want to get a status out of what the work they're doing. So don't mistake them for just being, charitable. When 6th Lord Saturn goes into the 10th house, they want to somehow go to the higher ranking of status to be known as somebody who worked out there for the nonprofit people. Because remember, Saturn and Rahu are kind of the same, like Mars and Ketu. Saturn looks for status and Rahu looks for status. However, Saturn looks for status through hard work. Rahu looks for status through the shortest form, like fame, movies and media and all of these things, or any kind of things that doesn't require too much work. But they're kind of both the same. They're both status hungry. So that's what happens, okay? So guys, this was my analysis of 6th Lord in the 10th house. If you're new to my channel, subscribe below. And if you want to know where your 6th Lord is placed and all your planetary placement, conjunction, aspect, Mahadasha, all of these things, for that, check out the links here and check out my books, Astrology, Conjunction, and Aspects of the Speed of Light. Otherwise, we'll see you next time with 6th Lord in the 11th house. Bye-bye.